huge difference, but it just adds a lot of value to the upbringing of a person when they learn about different cultures, different nationalities, and everything else.
Welcome back, all my Courage, Confidence, Connections podcast fans. I am Janice Debo, your host, and I want to introduce Monah al Jneibi. And I hope I didn't butcher that because my Arabic is not up to snuff. So when she is hailing all the way from Dubai, and we're going to learn more about her. And I told her it was hot where I am, and she's not hot. I don't know why in Dubai it's not, but she's inside, sitting in front of the air conditioner like we all are around the world, probably.
Exactly.
Welcome, Mona.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm excited to find out and tell our audience more about you, what you do, and what life is like for you out in the Dubai. I have never even been close to there. I've left this country one time, and that was to go to where was I? Um, Berlin. I've been to Berlin.
All right.
Yeah, that was
You
okay.
crossed the sea.
Yeah, across. I went across the pond, as they say out there. So, how are things in Dubai right now?
Oh, great. It's as hot as where you are, and most probably UK as well. And that's where I've been based for the last 5 years. Um, but like you said, I'm happy to be in Abu Dhabi right now, because of the air conditioner and the hot weather. I'm not with the hot weather.
Oh, I'm not either. I was thinking that when I was getting ready. I thought I am so not into the hot weather. And
Exactly.
I've got friends that they just love it. Like, okay, you have,
Exactly.
I'd rather have snow outside personally,
Yeah.
but
All rain.
or rain, anything cooler than what we've got. So,
Exactly.
well, I'm glad you're in the air conditioning. There's no question about that. And so what took you back to Dubai?
Oh, I'm originally from the UAE.
Okay.
The interesting part is that my mother's British and my father's Emirati from the UAE. So me being in the UK for the last 5 years was just to continue studying my PhD in knowledge management. Being back for the summer, I've been back for about a month now and another month to go. It's just to spend a lot of family time,
Oh,
quality time with them.
very good. Well, that had to be interesting growing up with a British mother and a father from UA,
UAE.
UAE. That is easier to say. Uh,
Yeah.
so what kind of a childhood did you have? Did you have certain things you loved to do that eventually propelled you towards what you're doing now?
Yes. Growing up, we've learned to speak English at home and learned to speak Arabic at school because my father put us in a government school. So we were privileged and, to grow up, learn the two languages, and also learn the culture and the background of two countries. Because growing up here, going back to the UK for the summer. There's a huge difference, but it just adds a lot of value to the upbringing of a person when they learn about different cultures, different nationalities, and everything else. I did come, I was seconded for a job to the US for 18 months.
Oh,
I mean, I was a naive in certain areas because I've never been to the US before.
mhm.
This was back in 2018.
Oh,
But having that background of two nationalities or cultures did give me the advantage to understand different cultures as well if you go to different countries. What in talking about my upbringing and today, um, my father used to be very active in playing games with us and having big family gatherings. We're a big family. So birthdays, summers, cold weather, any celebration, any reason to gather, my father would do it. And uh, I mean, even though it was only games, for me, it was the family gathering, it was the share of knowledge, stories with my grandfather, with my grandmother. And fast forward 2009, I started learning about knowledge management, and I've had my bachelor's degree was in education. So I was like, okay, can we combine playing games with sharing knowledge? So this is where I am today, and this is, the different projects I'm working on as well.
Wow. Okay. So the term knowledge management, you're going to need to educate me and probably a few in the audience. So give us a little more detail of what that means.
So knowledge management is in terms of an organization, it means the collective intellectual asset or knowledge of a person that we can capture, share, and between employees, especially people who are like got a vast knowledge of certain areas, and then you want to make sure that that knowledge is captured for the new generation that comes in.
Oh.
And so the organization doesn't lose out on that knowledge. But I also learned that that knowledge can also be moved into the mainstream public. What that means is, how can I help that? This is my passion, is how can I help the individual within a family member or a society to capture their knowledge to share with each other? Because it doesn't only have to be an organization, it could be in a community as well.
Mhm. Yes, that's so I think we were talking about legacy when we spoke before, weren't we?
Exactly.
And capturing that because I find that more than fascinating more now than even then. I'm endeavoring to write my memoirs, which in doing my research with my family, looking back on some of these websites, I'm just like, oh my goodness, this might take a little bit more than I realized because my family did
Yeah.
not capture any of that. I
Oh,
I begged my mother. Now I've got some notes from that she gave my sister, so they were given to me. And
yeah.
I have one cousin who's done a lot of research on ancestry and legacy, but
Yeah.
it is so vital. And recently had a writers, I'm in a writers group. So in this
Mhm.
writers group, we did a panel podcast where we talked about the value of legacy and capturing whatever you can of your own, if not your predecessors, just to move forward. And I don't have children, but I still
Exactly.
want to leave a legacy. I really do. And
Exactly.
yeah, and I love that. But you have somehow, as I remember, you've got an app or you've got games that work into this. So let's talk about that. I find this beyond fascinating. So I'm seek get some updates here.
I was speaking to my mother about what you're trying to do, and I'm really looking forward to reading your memoirs when you finished, because it's we can we can easily share stories,
Mhm.
but those stories on a daily basis can be forgotten. I mean, I'm pretty sure my grandmother's told me certain things on the last couple of years that
Mhm.
I have to ask questions. Because we don't write them down.
Right.
I mean, we can forget, pieces of here and there about, family members or whatever.
Mhm.
So going back to knowledge management and capturing knowledge in an organization, I was like, okay, how can we do that in the community, in family member, we're between family members.
Mhm.
So the app is called BFF Gram, which means it's like a social media, but has a lot of the foundation of knowledge management in it.
Mhm.
And BFF stands for Best Family Forever, Gram. And within that application, we've got a lot of features there, but the main ones are creating family trees. You can also yeah, family trees, and you can also create your timeline. Even though you can maybe download an app that you can capture your daily journal,
Mm,
but this is actually created your timeline on the page. So when were you born? When did you graduate high school? What happened? Good and bad. If like my grandmother passed away, I added that to my timeline.
mhm.
Um, when did I have my child or get married or divorce or whatever?
Right.
And other things can be hidden as well because you don't have to share everything. You can have either public or private timelines. And with that, fast forward, not my time, not my son's time. It could be, my grandkids or great grandkids. They'll actually go back to that family tree. They'll go back to the family timeline and understand exactly how their ancestors were. And like you said, it's really hard to capture knowledge of ancestors,
It is.
but we need to start somewhere.
We do.
And starting with us is the best thing to do because you are very lucky to have ancestry. People are capturing things there, but in our culture, in our country, we don't have databases.
Oh,
So for us, we're actually starting from zero.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, remind me, I think you had told me you wanted to be more involved with the elder care facilities.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Because if you can get them to share any part of their story, I don't
Exactly.
I don't think our generation for the last, few hundred years really know the value. But we also learn about ourselves when we start capturing these stories. And I'm a storyteller from the get-go, so I've got a lot of mine in my blog. But when I sit down to start writing my memoirs, boy, that feels so different. And it's not the, especially when the people you're writing about, a lot of them are gone. And but the irony is in on this website, it's the Mormons that I think it's the Latter-day Saints that this ancestry is through. And that's none of my history at all. But somehow a lot of my family is registered in there because somebody's doing their due diligence. But I found my great aunt's death certificate. And
Amazing.
I know my sister was blown away too. She goes, I didn't realize she lived to be 94. And I'm like, yeah, she did.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah. And then I couldn't remember the exact date of my father's death, and I found that on there. So because
Oh,
he's been gone over 30 years now. But
yeah.
but it's so fascinating to me to look back at pictures and then look at the timelines and
Yeah.
start, taking notes of, okay, seeing things come together because it impacts who we are today. We didn't grow up on a one person islands where nobody had anything to do with us, and we learn from our relatives, we learn and grow through these experiences. And I'm taking over the podcast, so you go. But I'm really interested in the fact that talk about capturing, getting into these facilities. And I guess you'll be able to do that in the UK as well as in the UAE, right?
Yeah. So I went into a facility and they really love the idea of capturing the knowledge because, like you said, we understand and they also understand that I might get the information from the elderly people. Their family members might not be interested today, but down the line, for sure, someone's going to ask the question, what did my grandmother do?
Mhm.
And again, it's not when were they born and when did they die or why did they die? Because we need to know that information as well as uh if it's hereditary and what kind of issues do we have in family history.
Exactly.
But it's more of where did she go and when did she graduate and what did she do in her life? That's more fascinating if you put it down in a timeline because I'm pretty sure. like you said, you just gave me two information. You said what day they died, and how long she lived for. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, what else did she do?
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do is challenge them, ask them questions, and you'll fascinate you'll hear fascinating stories of, and it's nice that it's public, so people around them or in the app themselves can look into those timelines if it's shared in public, and you'll find a lot of nice stories there.
So, can this app be downloaded worldwide?
It's actually a web page, so
Okay.
going into the website and downloading it. The interesting part is iPhone or Android phones, you can click on save and save it as a web page app
Okay.
icon on your phone.
Nice.
So when you click on it, it's like an application. So it is actually a web page, but it acts like an app, and it's very easy to use as long as you sign in, because we're wanting it to be private, it's accessible by people who join, and then you can create family trees and you can do more as well. The recent feature that we've added was wills.
Oh,
So you would go to a solicitor, or you would write your own will and leave it at home or whatever. And the disadvantage is it could be changed, it could be altered, it could be not found because it's, physical, it's at home between the papers or whatever. So what we did is we've created a feature where you can put your will in there, assign it to people you want it to be sent to, and when those family members send us the death certificate and we verify the information, we can then automatically send you the will. But that will include not only documents and what they have and what they want you to do, but also stories and, messages, because you don't only have to send it to family members, you can actually send it to friends as well.
nice. So,
Hmm.
what started you on this path and this journey? Especially, you've made a lot of progress since we talked last. So, I'm curious to tell our audience how you even started down this road because I find it you're young, you're very young, I'm sure.
Thank you.
And well, I mean, I don't know for sure. I mean, we're thousands of miles away, but the camera,
Yeah.
they say the camera doesn't lie, but I say it does. It does. But anyway, I'm curious, what started you on this path? And I know we'll have all the information when the YouTube video is posted. I'll have all that for our audience to join and do this. But tell us how this started. I'm curious.
Again, it all started back in 2009, where the strategy of the UAE was to create a economy-based, knowledge-based economy, which means what kind of knowledge do we have in organizations, and how can we reuse it, share it, capture it, and resell it in terms of, if you have a company that's built in the UAE, maybe we can get other countries to build it the same.
Got it.
So that's the selling of knowledge as well.
Hmm.
But that's in a business setting.
Right.
Now, again, my concept in my PhD was the right knowledge, the right time to make the right decision, which means we as family members can't make the decision of uh, what kind of illnesses we have, what do we have this, what we do, what else can we do, unless we have the background of our history and
Hmm.
what kind of family history we have.
Hmm.
So that took me into this arena where we say, okay, how can we help the public? How can I help the public capture that knowledge in a very interactive, very fun way? Um, and this is only first step. The first step is being a web page, 2D. So it says, like, you look at it and you can just enter information. But eventually we're aiming to have a 3D application where it could be very, very interactive, where very engaging with, the um older generation and the younger generation all coming in together with within an app.
Hmm. Well, you've got a big vision there and a lot of goals set. Also, when you were in the US, where did you live? What part of the US did you live in?
I was seconded to Wano Impo. So I was based in Atlanta, Georgia.
Ah,
It was amazing. I loved it. And I had my son who was back then was about 10 years old.
oh,
Oh, we really loved the US.
are you coming back?
Oh, we hope so. We
That
hope so. There's a lot of nice memories back there.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, I'm from the South, North Carolina as it were, but I know a lot of people in Georgia. This is just such a fascinating idea and you're still in the growing and developing stage and making contact with people. How are you reaching these audiences besides the ones that you're local to? Are you reaching out on the internet to do Zoom calls like this and explain to them? Is that part of your plan and operation?
So we've got about 2,000 active users.
Oh,
I think it was less than 800 when I spoke to you.
oh no.
So 2,000 active users. We're not like wanting to go grow really fast. We're
Mhm,
okay with the speed. And we're strategically wanting to go into the right groups and discussing things like that and presenting our project. Like you said, it could be a care home, it could be universities because they fresh graduates. We want to encourage them to capture their timeline from now until they grow up because we will forget a lot of things by the time we realize this is important information to capture.
mhm.
Um, and we've also approached therapists because if they want to help their patients, they can ask them to go into the timeline and document things, whether they were the positive or negative, for the therapist to look at and support them in that way. So there's a lot of kind of groups we can go into, but we are growing slowly, and we're very happy with the progress.
Excellent. Well, I was in my research yesterday. I sent an email to where my parents graduated, which is where they met, and their archives are just sad, very sad. You know, they
Oh,
they have very little. This was interesting. I did find their school paper from 1928.
amazing.
And my dad was born in 28, so that didn't apply to them. So I sent them an email and I hopefully will hear back because I'm trying to find when my parents graduated. And there was so little told to me or my siblings about
Mm.
that. And I've done a lot of my own research and figured a lot of things out. But yeah, there's just things we don't know. And so the universities are a great resource for you. And
Yeah.
yeah, and teaching the value of knowing your heritage and that kind of thing. I'm
It,
sure.
it it's I mean it's with the younger generation, I think they're more into
Mhm.
uh, the digital aspect of life, but it won't be more of heritage, it'll be more of let's do it for you for today. But then they'll see the value tomorrow when they have kids and you know, they they realize it was so easy to just capture this knowledge and say,
Yeah.
this is when I had um, it's it's as easy. I mean, you're talking about, I'm looking at the title and it's talking about connections.
Mhm.
So we have connections every day. And I can, if I put it in my timeline and said, I met you in May and we had this podcast in July, I would one day want to remember those kind of things and
Exactly.
remember, the link and remember the what kind of things we discussed. But we tend not to do that. And that's what what we are encouraging people to do is because we know it's so easy to document, but it's also so easy to forget.
It is very easy. I write a lot of this stuff in my journal, but I'm definitely going to explore your website and download it because I could add that as I build my ancestry and do my due diligence and research, and hopefully have cooperation of finding out some of the things I don't know. And you can look back and go, because my whole premise of my memoirs is they're not going to be in as a novel. It's going to be real life, real names, all that. And my older brother passed suddenly last August. It was a fatal fall that took his life, but that started me on a quest of knowing more about my parents. And he's actually my half brother, so there's a lot of hidden things in there that were never discussed.
Right.
The old family secret thing. Um,
Yes.
and so that's the basis for my memoirs is I feel like I've got to have some facts in there that are correct. Timelines are
Yeah.
so I'm
And and that's where the difficulty comes, because you then have to search for the information instead of it being ready for you to just understand it.
you got that.
Um, and it's the same with us because only asking the right questions to my grandmother and her brothers, and they're like in their 70s and 80s, we're getting that information. And it was about 2 years ago, we found out that my mother had pure German ancestors in
Wow.
our timeline. And I was like, if we didn't ask that question, we wouldn't have been told.
Hmm.
And we don't have any connections with, again, going back to your title, we don't have any connections with them. We've not spoken to them. It is a small world, and I'm trying to prove that as well. We are connected to each other, and but it's all about the creating those lines and creating those stories, and seeing how far we can go back, and if not, then we'll go forward.
Exactly. So based on the name of the podcast here, had to take a lot of courage for you to say, okay, well, first of all, you're getting your PhD and you've come up with this brilliant idea. And so remember when we talked before, you were a little frustrated with trying to make headway with, some of these contact
Connections.
connect.
Yeah.
So what level of courage and confidence did it take for you to step into this arena of this is pretty much an unknown area?
It's still a difficult one because it's a new arena and people don't understand the concept behind capturing knowledge. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, everywhere is closed off. You'd have to go to home cares and explain yourself.
Mhm.
And, you'll find out of 10, you'll find maybe two who would accept your idea. And then universities are the same. There's so much out there that they're now like closed off and want to analyze exactly what they want to share with their students
Mhm.
instead of just, bombarding them with everything. Um, so creating those connections is not wasn't easy, and it's still not easy.
I'm sure. I worked in a retirement facility. I think I told you for a few years, and I was always looking for activities. I was an activities director, so I was always looking to find things that were unusual and fun to do. This could be created like a game for an
Yeah,
activities director in these
yeah,
homes because you got to start somewhere and you start planting seeds with it being something fun.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
you could try.
But not everyone thinks like you. So it was really hard to convince people.
Yeah, I know. I'm off the wall sometimes, but I love this kind of stuff. And
Yeah,
I think as you get older, you value your legacy, you value your
exactly.
history. And I think starting in these care facilities, approaching the people that need to create something for their folks to enjoy. Who knows?
And
Mhm.
you're talking about approaching home cares, but you're doing the right thing as well about doing podcasts and talking about these important things. So that's another big step towards us trying to encourage such thing. You doing your doing, your memoirs is another big thing because not everyone can do that. I mean, I'm pretty sure with AI, it will be very easy for people to do it today, but it's just gathering the information. But it's not something everyone would do, right?
Right.
And it's amazing the kind of things people can do when they think, oh, like you said, leave a legacy, write a memoir, do a podcast and talk about things that are important and just create the awareness around it.
Right. Exactly. Well, before we wrap it up, because I usually keep this around a half hour, um, and we can definitely revisit and have another podcast as things that, progress for what you're doing. I believe it would be a valuable, I've had one person on here 3 times and other people multiple times. But we'll keep exploring this and you and I'll talk off camera as well. But any final words, encouragement, or anything that you feel is applicable, appropriate, or you just want to share before we wrap up?
I mean, I really appreciate the time to share this and talk to you about the project BFF Gram. BFF Gram, I mean, the interesting point would be is that we have
Mhm.
Google.com, we have new apps like ChatGPT and everything else.
Yeah.
They're very generalized. So if you want to say I want to apply to renew the passport, for example. I'll say 1, 2, 3. But capturing that timeline within BFF Gram will actually be customized to your situation, your country, your surroundings and community. So it's not only about what can you do tomorrow, generalized to the whole public, but it's actually customized to you.
Mhm.
That's the only difference that we're trying to aim for, is you would find a lot of generalized knowledge out there, but we're trying to customize it based on your history, ancestry, and your situation.
Excellent. You hear that, audience? Well, you need to click on the link below, which will be on YouTube and my website. And we'll leave more information about Monah and her BFF Gram. But I'm going to encourage you to get involved with your own ancestry, your own legacy. Even if you do or don't have kids, I don't have kids, but I still want to help people. And that's truly,
Yeah.
truly the human spirit. So we're talking about a human spirit here. And she'll leave some contact information. So if you're working in a nursing, a care facility, a hospital, a university,
School,
a school,
university.
yeah. So you can reach out. But thank you for joining us again, and thank you for being my guest today. This is
Thank you.
this has been so fun, and I'm more excited than I was last time when we talked. And but we'll be back. Thank you for joining Courage, Confidence, and Connections podcast again. Janice Debo, your host, and we'll be back soon.